Enjoy unlimited local calling, plus 12 popular calling features. You'll also get domestic long-distance calling for 5 cents a minute.
Get what you want. Get what you
Make the switch. Get Comcast Digital Voice Local with More for just $24.95 per month every month. Call 1-800-COMCAST today.
Only the world's largest gives you more. Vista BMW's holiday sales event. All remaining 08 and new 09 BMWs are on sale. Low 0.9% flexible financing. Vista BMW, the world's largest BMW retailer.
Trent Eric and the Local 10 weather team.
Welcome to World News. Tonight, Caroline Kennedy says she wants to carry on her family's dynasty by taking the Senate seat vacated by Hillary Clinton. Shoe attack. As the president returns to the U.S., some are calling the man who attacked him a hero. Deep freeze, bitter cold, and record snow paralyzed much of the Midwest. Thousands in the Northeast are in their 5th day without power. And fighting cancer, the breakthrough device which may help millions of breast cancer patients and their doctors avoid multiple surgeries.
From ABC News headquarters, this is World News with Charles Gibson. Reporting tonight, Elizabeth Vargas.
Good evening. We begin tonight with a decision by the heir to America's political royalty who says she wants in on the family business. Caroline Kennedy made it known today that she wants New York Governor David Paterson to name her to the seat, which will come open when Hillary Clinton becomes Secretary of State. If she is appointed, she will extend the Kennedy dynasty. There has been a Kennedy in the U.S. Senate for more than half a century. And ABC's John Berman is here with this breaking story tonight. Good evening, John.
Elizabeth, so how do you replace the celebrity wattage of a Senate seat held by a Clinton? How about a Kennedy? After weeks of speculation and whispers, Caroline Kennedy says she wants it, and she's actively campaigning to get it.
Americans have been saying Senator Kennedy for 55 years. John, Robert, Ted. Now 51-year-old Caroline Kennedy is looking to add a new name to that list, phoning New York leaders telling them she wants the job, including Governor David Paterson, who alone will make the decision.
She's interested in the position. She'd like at some point to sit down and tell me what she thinks her qualifications are.
Always reserved, Caroline Kennedy was never seen as a shoo-in for the family business.
She's never sought the spotlight. She's never been so overtly political until this year.
She gave an early endorsement to Barack Obama.
He is already inspiring all Americans, young and old, to believe in ourselves.
And then helped run his vice presidential selection process. The seat Kennedy is seeking was the very one held by her uncle Robert more than 40 years ago, and it would allow her to continue the work of her other uncle, Ted, who was battling brain cancer. Political leaders from New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg to the Reverend Al Sharpton have all praised Kennedy, but others are not embracing her ascendancy. This was Congressman Gary Ackerman on the radio.
I don't know what Caroline Kennedy's qualifications are, except that she has name recognition, but, so does J-Lo.
Kennedy's professional career has included education and charity work, but not the experience some would like to see in these tough economic times.
It's not clear what Caroline Kennedy brings to the table. She's an emblem.
But her very public declaration of interest proves she knows how to play politics with Governor David Paterson.
It puts tremendous pressure on him.
It might be tough to say no to John F. Kennedy's last surviving child.
Now, Hillary Clinton will not resign her Senate seat until she's confirmed as Secretary of State, and that will not be until late January or even February. So, Elizabeth, there is more time for this Senate drama to play out.
All right, John, thanks so much. Our chief Washington correspondent, George Stephanopoulos, joins us now. And George, what are the chances the Democratic governor of New York will say no to Caroline Kennedy?
Top New York Democrats I spoke to, Elizabeth, say it will be difficult, if not impossible, for the governor to say no. But the Kennedy team isn't taking anything for granted, and the governor is emphasizing that he hasn't made the choice. Here's why it might make sense for him beyond the celebrity star power of Kennedy. She can raise an awful lot of money. Paterson will also be on the ticket in 2010. He would want a strong pick as well, and it gets him off the hook. He doesn't have to pick among all those other elected officials in New York.
And just how does Senator Clinton feel about Kennedy taking over her seat? Remember, Kennedy snubbed her to endorse Barack Obama at a key point in the Democratic primary.
She is not commenting, but her allies in New York have been very critical of this choice. And it's no secret that she was very upset and hurt when Caroline Kennedy came out so publicly for Barack Obama.
Now to the drama playing out in Illinois with the governor there, Rod Blagojevich, who's accused of all sorts of fraud and wrongdoing. President-elect Obama said late today he has completed review of all communications between his transition team and the governor, but won't release the findings until next week at the request of the prosecutor?
That's right, and that request actually helps get President-elect Obama off the hook. You know, we have a new ABC News poll out tonight that shows the President-elect is doing very, very well. He's got 76% approval across the country for how he's handling the transition, but only 51% approve of the way he's been handling these contacts with the Blagojevich team. The fact that the special prosecutor now has come out and said that there can't be any release until next week does get him off the hook on that a little bit. And the president-elect emphasized again today that when those contacts come out, they will show that his team did nothing wrong. And that's what the prosecutor is also saying.
And that is good news to President-elect Obama at this point, is it not?
No question about it.
All right, George Stephanopoulos in Washington, thanks so much. In Chicago today, President-elect Obama formally introduced his so-called Energy and Environment Green Team, including Stephen Chu as his energy secretary and Lisa Jackson to head the Environmental Protection Agency. Former EPA Director Carol Browner will be the administration's new energy and climate czar, and Nancy Sutley will head the White House Council on Environmental Quality. President Bush, meantime, returned to Washington this afternoon, less than 72 hours after leaving for a whirlwind tour of Iraq and Afghanistan. The trip gave him a chance to personally thank the troops, but the purpose of the trip has been overshadowed by yesterday's shoe-throwing incident in Iraq, which was intended to insult the president as much as harm him. Martha Raddatz traveled with the president.
President Bush and Iraq's prime minister had just shaken hands when first one and then another shoe was hurled at the president by an Iraqi journalist. Mr. Bush had to duck to avoid being smacked in the head. The journalist who had shouted at the president, "This is your farewell kiss, you dog," was dragged away screaming and bleeding. We talked to the president immediately after the incident.
I've seen a lot of weird things during my presidency, and this may rank up there as one of the weirdest. I don't know what his beef is, but whatever it is, I'm sure, somebody will hear it.
The president really did try to make light of this incident, Elizabeth, but he was rather testy in the interview with us. He knows the shoe incident is dominating the coverage.
And it is, Martha. This last trip to Iraq and Afghanistan was not only a surprise, but it was unquestionably dangerous, and a trip to the two countries that will define his presidency in many ways.
They really will define his presidency. He wanted to talk about Iraq and Afghanistan. He was there for a ceremonial signing of the Status of Forces Agreement with Iraq, which means U.S. troops could be out of there at the end of 2011. And in Afghanistan, he met with President Hamid Karzai and talked about the situation there that is deteriorating. So he feels badly, I'm sure, that this is dominating the coverage.
And in the meantime, you spoke with the president at some point about al-Qaeda in Iraq, and he admitted to you that al-Qaeda did not exist in Iraq prior to our entering that country?
He did, and that's the first time I've heard him say that so definitively. I said, so they weren't in Iraq before the U.S. invaded, and he said, so what?
Martha Raddatz in Washington tonight. Thank you so much. In the meantime, the man who threw his shoes at the president is in jail now, facing charges of insulting a foreign leader. He could be sentenced to 2 years if he's convicted. And although President Bush has made light of the incident, his attacker has become an instant celebrity to many of his countrymen. Here's our senior foreign correspondent, Jim Sciutto.
One day later, shoes have become a new symbol of anti-Americanism in the Arab world. And the Iraqi reporter who threw them, Muntathar al-Zaidi, a folk hero. In Iraq today, thousands marched in support of his release. And more than 100 lawyers volunteered to defend him. It was a heroic way to say goodbye to Bush, said one Iraqi. Hitting someone with a shoe is a severe insult in the Arab world, suggesting the person is as low as dirt. It's how some Iraqis defiled Saddam Hussein's statue the day Baghdad fell in 2003. It's so insulting, in fact, that some Iraqis are embarrassed. We Arabs are known for our hospitality, this man said. Bush was a guest, and guests should be respected. Still, in news coverage on new fan websites, in Arabic text messages, the overwhelming sentiment, giddy satisfaction. A Saudi man offered $10 million for the shoes.
So he is the most popular person in the Arab world today. This is his 15 minutes of fame.
Al-Zaidi's act of defiance tapped into wider resentment in the Muslim world against the Iraq occupation, the war on terror, and the U.S. president they blamed for it all. Tonight, Al-Zaidi's brother put it this way. Americans have been disrespecting and killing Iraqis for 5 years, he said. It's time we pay them back. The shoe thrower himself hasn't lost any relatives, though his family says he was kidnapped once by militants. His cameraman said that just before he got up, he handed him this note saying, "It's glorious to die a martyr." He survived, of course, and his story may live on as well. Jim Sciutto, ABC News, London.
And now back to Washington, where Vice President Cheney sat down with ABC's Jonathan Karl for an exclusive interview. The vice president talked about his role in controversial interrogation tactics used on terror suspects and made a startling admission about the questioning of Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, the mastermind of the 9/11 attacks.
Did you authorize the tactics that were used against Khalid Sheikh Mohammed?
I was aware of the program, certainly, and involved in helping get the process cleared. That is, the agency, in effect, came in and wanted to know what they could and couldn't do. And they talked to me as well as others to explain what they wanted to do, and I supported it. There was a period of time there 3 or 4 years ago when about half of everything we knew about Al-Qaeda came from that one source. So it's been a remarkably successful effort. I think the results speak for themselves.
In hindsight, do you think any of those tactics that were used against Khalid Sheikh Mohammed and others went too far?
I don't.
And on KSM, one of those tactics, of course, widely reported was waterboarding, and that seems to be a tactic we no longer use. Even that, you think, was appropriate?
I do.
What do you say to those that say you've changed?
Well, the way I think of it in terms of whether or not I changed, I think a prime motivation for me in much of what I've done was 9/11. And have I changed? Well, not in the sense that I've gone through some, fundamental psychological transition here, but I have been, since that day, focused very much upon what we needed to do to defend the nation. And I think the policies we've recommended, the programs that we've undertaken, have been good programs. I think those have been sound decisions. And if that's what they mean by saying I changed, I'm guilty.
And you can see more of John's exclusive interview with the Vice President tomorrow morning on Good Morning America. Now to the extreme weather being felt from one end of the country to the other. While winter doesn't officially arrive for almost another week, try telling that to the people in the middle of the country. They're coping with wind chills of 30 and 40 below zero, and that's on the heels of a nasty blizzard. ABC's Eric Hong is in Duluth, Minnesota.
Duluth awoke this morning to a wind chill of -40.
Feeling like there's a little knife stabbing my hand right now.
A bitter, dangerous cold that had these hardiest of Midwesterners shivering in their stockings.
It's just more piercing, more penetrating.
I knew it's gonna be this cold, but not this cold.
The brutal temperatures cracked the windows of businesses, drained car batteries, and burst water mains across the city. Across the nation's midsection, the mercury plummeted in a matter of hours. In Kansas City on Sunday, a 32-degree drop. In Denver, temperatures plunged 35 degrees. And in Omaha, a staggering 37-degree fall.
This is such a powerful storm system, a powerful cold front that has been spreading widespread cold throughout much of the country.
Including the West, where the vineyards of California were dusted with snow.
I looked outside, I was like, what is that?
And in the usually balmy southern part of the state, drenching rains raised fears of mudslides and caused this roof collapse at a school, injuring 3.
The whole ceiling came down, and then everybody just started running.
Across New England, repair crews raced to fix electrical poles and wires damaged by last week's crippling ice storm.
Some folks there said we might not get power till Christmas.
Tonight across the Midwest, more record cold is on the way, and another round of storms is in the forecast. Eric Hong, ABC News, Duluth, Minnesota.
Burr. Still ahead on World News, new answers to the $50 billion question. How did one man allegedly dupe so many rich and famous investors? It's our closer look. A breakthrough weapon in the fight against breast cancer, the device that might spare women from surgery after surgery. And the real-life high school musical. Lessons learned when a mostly white high school stages a play written for a black cast.
This is World News with Charles Gibson, brought to you by Edward Jones.
I completely understand, Dave. That's why I asked you to come in.
I've just been watching the news, following the market, and, well...
You're concerned, of course. Just don't let your emotions get in the way of your long-term goals.
Yeah, I know.
My experience in this kind of a market, we should take a look at your portfolio and make sure your investments still fit your goals.
Thanks, Bill. And thanks again for meeting so early.
Edward Jones Financial Advisors. Over 10,000 offices, one near you.
Thermacare wants to know, where does it hurt?
My aching shoulder.
Target the pain with Thermacare heat wraps. Thermacare delivers real heat that penetrates deep to relax tight muscles all day. Try Thermacare heat wraps and wear it where it hurts. Campbell's Green Bean Casserole. Make some holiday magic.
Today I found out that my funny bone is sick and that my drug plan's monthly premium has changed. So I compared other plans and found similar coverage at a better price.
Now's the time to review and compare Medicare prescription drug plans. And from November 15th to December 31st, you can even change your plan. Call 1-800-MEDICARE or go to Medicare.gov and use the Plan Finder to see options in your state.
Your funny bone is better now.
And so is my prescription drug plan.
Tonight, a closer look at the unraveling of what's shaping up to be the biggest fraud case in history, and at the growing list of victims coming forward to say they were duped. Wall Street money manager Bernard Madoff is accused of bilking investors out of $50 billion, maybe more, in a classic Wall Street Ponzi scheme that grew to epic proportions. Our chief investigative correspondent Brian Ross has been looking into who was on the losing end of the alleged scam.
Investigators say the scene of the crime was the 17th floor of this office building in Midtown Manhattan, where only a select few were allowed. 70-year-old Bernard Madoff allegedly ran his massive scam there, famed for producing the kind of impressive investment returns no one else seemed to match.
He had a secret formula, and nobody could look and see what the secret formula was, kind of like the Wizard of Oz.
And every month, Madoff's victims received detailed monthly statements showing trades and investments that authorities say never really existed.
The good-looking monthly statement is the most important thing you can provide to the investor. Makes him feel very reassured about the soundness of the investment and the amount of money.
The list of victims keeps growing. European banks in for billions, and charities run by Holocaust survivor Elie Wiesel, director Steven Spielberg, and New York billionaire Mort Zuckerman. Zuckerman's charitable trust lost $30 million.
Gone, disappeared, into the air, vanished. And that's really upsetting, and I'm embarrassed by it, and I'm outraged by it.
Authorities say Madoff didn't even hesitate to scam his close friends and fellow members at the Palm Beach Country Club in Florida.
They're going to have to sell their $20 or $30 million waterfront mansion. It's all over. And so many of these people crazily put all their money with him. And so they're finished.
As a registered investment advisor, Madoff's operation was subject to SEC scrutiny. But even after complaints from whistleblowers 9 years ago, the SEC gave him a clean bill of health.
They failed. This person was registered as a broker-dealer. They should have known what he was doing all the time, and particularly if you got whistleblowers.
SEC officials did not respond directly to questions today about their failure to detect the fraud, saying they are now determined to get to the bottom of it. One focus is on the so-called investment advisors who collected large fees by steering their clients to Madoff's supposed foolproof funds. And Elizabeth will know more about this tomorrow when Madoff makes an appearance in court here in New York.
It is an extraordinary story. Brian, thank you. Coming up, a revolutionary tool in the fight against breast cancer as World News continues.
If you have
a history of smoking and breathing problems, it could be COPD, which includes chronic bronchitis, emphysema, or both. Discover Spiriva, the only once-daily inhaled maintenance prescription that treats both forms of COPD. Spiriva significantly improves lung function to help you breathe better for a full 24 hours. And it's not a steroid. Spiriva is not a rescue inhaler. Tell your doctor about your medicines, even eye drops, and illnesses like glaucoma and urinary or prostate problems. These may worsen with Spiriva. The most common side effect is dry mouth. Others include constipation and problems passing urine. In the event your breathing suddenly worsens, your throat or tongue swells, you get hives, vision changes, or eye pain, stop taking Spiriva and call your doctor. Spiriva is one of many treatment options to consider with your doctor.
Make a habit of breathing better with Spiriva.
Serious sore throat sufferers know there's nothing worse than a sore throat with a bad cough. Only new Cepacol Sore Throat Plus Cough Spray has the power to stop both fast.
Thank you.
Only Cepacol stops both fast.
Feeling stuffed up? Unstuff yourself with Afrin No Drip. It's got the best medicine to open nasal passages. Afrin, the best stuff to unstuff.
Tomorrow, as the economy continues to struggle, there's something your bank may not tell you about your credit cards. When banks change the rules, it could really change how you live. The hidden trap that could severely impact your family's future. On World News with Charles Gibson, your trusted source.
The American Heart Association is reporting some encouraging news in the fight against the country's #1 killer, saying some goals have already been exceeded. Deaths from heart disease and strokes are down 30% since 1999, better than the 25% reduction the Heart Association was aiming for by 2010. But experts fear the obesity epidemic could wipe out the progress. And there's promising news tonight in the fight against breast cancer. Every year, tens of thousands of women in this country undergo 2 and sometimes even 3 surgeries to remove all their cancer. But researchers have just unveiled an experimental device that might help surgeons know during the first operation whether they've gotten the entire tumor. ABC's John McKenzie has an exclusive look.
It can be so scary. Diana Gore, who's 44, is just minutes away from surgery to remove breast cancer.
Fear. Will it be gone when we're finished here, or will we come back later on and say, oh, you know, there's a little more left there. We've got to go back.
During the actual operation, Diana's surgeon, Dr. Lee Wilkie, is wondering the same thing.
I'm removing a tumor, and I have nothing that tells me that I've removed the whole tumor.
The result, a couple of weeks after one of these lumpectomies, women will often be forced to endure yet another operation.
At our worst, 4 out of 10 times.
So 40% of cases
can come back to the operating room for a second surgery.
But today, here at the Duke University Medical Center, doctors are testing an experimental device to reduce that risk. Once they've removed Diana's tumor, they put it inside this case and expose the surface area to bands of light.
And what that's telling us about is basically the blood vessels that are present in the tissue, the amount of fat that's present in the tissue, or the density of cells that are present in the tissue.
Plotted on a map, those results tell doctors what edges are cancer-free and which ones are not.
This blue area is what you want to see.
Yes.
The red area would indicate a potential more cancer.
Potential problem, yes.
A problem because cancer cells on the very edge of a tumor suggest more cancer remains inside the patient and needs to be removed.
The device is showing us with a 85% sensitivity the areas that we would need to remove. If I had removed those areas, the patient wouldn't need to be going back to the operating room.
The next step over the next year is to test the device on more tumors from more patients like Diana, who's now eager to go home.
Very relieved. I'm glad it's all over.
Glad thousands more women each year might soon be able to make their first breast cancer surgery their only breast cancer surgery. John McKenzie, ABC News, Durham, North Carolina.
And up next, a real high school musical touches on race with plenty of real-life drama.
At 6:30 in the morning, I have a cigarette, and then another on my way to work. At 10 on the dot, like clockwork, I have to go out for a smoke. And then I grab another after lunch. For me, smoking is more than just a habit. It's an addiction to nicotine. You know, quitting isn't easy. And when willpower isn't enough, it's time to talk to your doctor.
If you want to quit smoking, there is something you can do. Go to mytimetoquit.com or call 1-866-575-1200 to get the information you need to make the most out of your conversation with your doctor. You can also sign up to receive tips on quitting and find out more about a prescription treatment option.
It's 11:35, and it's my time to quit. Hi, Katie. Come on in.
With her doctor's help, Katie quit smoking. So did David. Carol gave up cigarettes too. And Jason and Linda did it together. Every year, millions try to put cigarettes behind them. And for many people, it can be the hardest challenge they've ever faced. But with a doctor's help, it doesn't have to be. You too can do it. Don't let another year slip by. Make a commitment to quitting and make 2009 your time. Go to mytimetoquit.com or call 1-866-575-1200 now.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, count me in. I wanna see what's hot and what's done. Let me in on all the dirt and the...
You'll just hate yourself if you don't see Who Made the List. Coming to ABC Tuesday, December 23rd.
Tomorrow, this baby was legally adopted and had a loving home until a change of heart by his birth mother turned it all around. And now, he might end up in foster care, and there's nothing they can do. The Adoption Gone Bad on Good Morning America tomorrow.
Finally tonight, High School Musical, the real-life version. High school productions from their first auditions to their final applause are filled with drama all their own. But tonight, a special edition of 2020 takes a look at what happens when a largely white high school in Virginia decided to stage a play that traditionally has an all-black cast. ABC's Deborah Roberts has a preview.
Westfield High School is a predominantly white, middle-class, high-achieving school. We sometimes tend to insulate ourselves in our own kind, and I want to break down those walls.
They're staging The Wiz, the black musical version of The Wizard of Oz.
I was so worried about us doing The Wiz because we don't have that many African American people in our theater department.
Go where you wanna, but don't get in my way, 'cause I'm a mean old man.
I know most of you are a bunch of white guys from Northern Virginia, you know? I know that, so am I. But that doesn't mean that I can't celebrate the style of this show, okay?
More than 100 kids audition for the 4 lead characters.
I don't know what a wizard is, I don't know what a wizard is, I just hope the wiz is there. Maybe I'm just going crazy, letting myself get uptight.
How much will the race factor affect who gets the lead roles?
You are a pretty white girl. And this is a pretty black show. The race factor did matter and did count.
Finally, the cast list and the start of a journey that'll test the strength of friendship.
I wanted these kids to walk away with the willingness to accept others.
I think one of the greatest things about this play is that it brought together so many people that would never have met if it wasn't for The Wiz.
You can see who got the roles and follow Drama High, the making of a high school musical, tonight on a special 2-hour edition of 2020. And that is World News for this Monday night. I'm Elizabeth Vargas. Charlie Gibson will be back here tomorrow night. For all of us at ABC News, have a good night.
Tonight, what happens when over 100 teens, almost all of them white, compete for just 4 lead roles in a black high school musical?
I'm so scared.
Think there's drama in your life? Just wait until you see Drama High, a 2-hour TV event, tonight at 9 on ABC.
It's Festival Frenzy Days. This week, choose from a beautiful selection of solid pashmina shawls, just $7.99, or patterned pashmina shawls for just $10.99. What great gift ideas at the Festival Flea Market Mall. Sample Road at the Turnpike, Pompano.
LATV Miami. It's un canal by Latinos for Latinos. Keep up with your favorite artists y visita South Florida's hottest spots. LATV Miami.
KFC proudly sponsors LATV Miami.
Look fabulous for less at the festival this week with OPI nail polish or SE nail polish just $4.99 or the Flip It paddle brush just $1.99 now through Sunday at Festival Flea Market Mall, Sample Road at the Turnpike, Pompano.
Here's what's on Local 10 tonight.
Hey, Wheel fans! Wouldn't a little extra cash make your holidays brighter? Well, you're in luck. We're giving away $5K every day to wheel watchers just like you. Brought to you by Sony Card, the official card of big money. Go to wheeloffortune.com for complete details. It's just our way of spreading the holiday cheer.
Ladies and gentlemen, Pat Sajak and Anna White.
Coming right into your homes. Hi, folks. Hi, gang. Right there. Oh, we're on a star. Thank you. Appreciate that. See you later. Hi, guys. It's only me. Hello. Let's win some money. Everybody grab one of those things there. Showbiz is the category, $1,000. Here we go. Jenny.
A film for the whole family.
That's it. Yeah, you got it. Nice job. Jenny Westbay, $1,000 richer from Allen Park, Michigan. You're going to school at Eastern Michigan, right?
Yes.
How far along are you? What are you studying?
I'm a senior there, and I'm studying psychology.
Oh, yeah. So you have something, you believe in brain exercising.
Yes. I love doing anything that involves my brain. Crossword puzzles, Sudoku, reading.
Yeah. So just keep it to it.
Yes.
Perhaps you could flex your medulla oblongata for us. Well, maybe not. Nice to have you here. Good luck. Hi, Edgar. How you doing?
Doing real good, Pat.
Edgar Edge is from Caldwell, Idaho. What does this mean? Personal chef for 116 teenagers. It sounds like a story.
I am. I work at a private school, a boarding school, and